Hey, what's up guys? How's it going? It's Dakota Fisherman here, and today we're going to be doing the Kingdom Tycoon. So we've got like a little over 120 tokens, and so we're just going to go ham on this and see what we get. Now, for the most part, right, like I've been telling you guys, like box chest opening and everything is going out pretty well. Like here we're just going to try and get Queen Venoms is kind of the idea, but obviously with a lot of this kind of stuff you don't really know what you're going to get, or for that matter you really don't know what to expect, right? Now obviously for a couple of different reasons, right? If I'm going to go about like actually getting a vast majority of the gems and quality of actual stuff, right, you gotta kind of go through Kingdom Tycoon like a couple dozen times in order to really have a good chance at getting anything good. And obviously that's freaking dice is like a 50-50 shot at like any one particular item. You really never know what you're gonna get. But for obvious reasons, right? The main thing that you have to concern yourself with whenever you're trying to get, access to like certain items and stuff like that, like if you're trying to get chaos cores, for example, chaos cores are like super easy to get, in my experience from Kingdom Tycoon. Like I tend to find that I grab Kingdom chaos cores a lot easier than I do any other way, but granted, like every time you land on it, it's like winning 7,500 gems. In my opinion, that's like a win no matter what happens. But the main thing is, right, is with like Borderlands 3 content, the main thing I'm going to probably end up doing is I'm going to probably start out by making a video announcing that I'm probably going to upload content for that on the channel, and then I'll probably go about uploading the videos and stuff like that probably later in the week. Now, I happen to have a friend of mine that's going to also have the game. His name's Rupert, but a lot of people know him as Nuka Rupert on YouTube, and he's not super popular by any means, but he's going to do a lot of this stuff on Twitch. He plans on streaming it on Twitch anyway, so you're more than happy to watch him if he ever gets on there. But the main thing is so with Borderlands 3 content kind of coming on the way and a lot of other that stuff, you're going to find that I'm going to be in so many different places. For obvious reasons, right? When it comes to Lords Mobile, if I end up in a war kingdom for some reason in the near future, I'll let you guys know. But like right now, the main thing that we're doing is we're boosting. So we're going through, and the benefit of being in a kingdom like K181, for example, is that literally nobody fights us here. Like nobody's gonna fight, nobody's gonna do anything, and you can consistently produce an enormous amount of resources without any fear of losing them. You've got the benefit of also being able to go after other players, and you're also able to stack the odds in your favor. The main thing with a kingdom like 181 is, and this is what bores the living snot out of literally everybody else on my channel, is that I don't get to upload until there's a KVK, a Baron War, or a Chalice. And that's the real kicker, right? Is that if people don't get to see as much content, and that's kind of the kick in the balls at the end of the day. So what's going to fill in for that is probably going to be Borderlands. And I think you guys might enjoy it as much as I do. I don't know. But the main thing I want to express here is that it's not like Lords Mobile is going to be completely drained or gone when I start doing that. But I also have to recognize that past a certain point, there's only so much you can do, right? If you're going to do Lords Mobile and you're going to do it extremely on the point all the time, you can't like go out and do a rally trap every single week. You're not going to be able to do like it's the same thing with like solo trapping. Like solo traps, although they make it seem like, oh, it's a no big deal kind of thing, it's pretty expensive every time they mess up. And the thing is like garrison traps are really easy to pull off if I'm in the same guild. Not like obviously I'm not in the same guild, so I can't really do that. And as far as tutorials go, I mean, I like to think I've covered almost everything there is to cover on Lords Mobile when it comes to tutorials. I don't know. If there's something I haven't picked up on or haven't talked about, feel free to tell me in the comments section, because I'm more than happy to make a video about it. Because really, I like to think I've kind of covered everything that there could be covered. But even still, like when it comes to like big guilds and like a lot of the rally fighting that you see that goes on with like the Criminal Alliance and stuff like that, like where they're just blowing 30 grand worth of troops out the fucking window on a regular basis, like provided that they're doing that, I'm also going to be realistic with you guys, and I'm going to say that I'm probably never going to get to that point. And I say that because part of the problem is that, for me, it's not only incredibly expensive, right, to be able to just dish out troops like that, but it's incredibly time consuming. And you have to be on guard all the time. You have to stay shielded all the time. And I know some people like Kalista, a lot of other people, they get so uppity about having these troops and being untouchable at a billion might. But believe me, I've seen it. I've seen people that are just a billion might and then boom, like that overnight, gone. Just lose a little over 400 or 500 million worth of troop might and just completely lose it all. And I've experienced this. In fact, not once, but 3 times. I've been zeroed 3 times as a rally trap, okay? I can say from experience that every time I have, it was because I was either sleeping, not busy, and not paying attention, or the third time, I think it was just because I got reckless. But either way, the point is, all right, is that in my experience, okay, it is not smart to go looking for danger. It is also incredibly stupid to do it for views. And I know a lot of people out there that, yeah, I know it's probably not a very popular thing to say, but like the truth of the matter is that if I'm going to be uploading content in the near future on this channel, as far as Lord's Mobile is concerned, it's probably going to be during every KVK. It's probably going to be every time there's something major going on or something that I've picked up on, like an update or a Phantom Night or so. It's stuff like that. And I'm losing my voice, so oh my goodness. Apologize. But yeah, the main thing is, all right, is that for you guys, right? I care about you guys. I try to make sure that I'm giving as much content on the subject as I can. But it's like past a certain point, it's like, well, really, what is there, to do as far as watching a guild showdown go down or something major like that? It's like really seldom. It never really comes up that often. So. The thing that I want to point out is so like with a lot of this stuff that I've got on the plan, it's like, yeah, getting gold and beast helm is one of those things, but like the ultimate long-term goal, right, is at some point or another I'm gonna have to find me a guild that I can fight in that my girlfriend approves. Up to this point, she's been very, how do you say, she disapproves of anybody that joins that's like a fan. She disapproves of anyone that she feels is stupid. And that seldomly leads to me to being in another guild. Now, and that isn't to say that the guild that I'm in is bad. Like, I think the group that I have and the guild that I have is not bad. The problem is there's like literally no fighting force there. That's ultimately the problem with it. But now how you actually go about doing anything about that, I'm not really sure. But that's stuff that, I'll work it out. I'll figure it out, eventually, but it's just for the channel and for what we've got. It's just, I don't know. It's kind of where I take it from here. I don't really know yet. It's like, I think really ultimately, for you guys anyway, and the one thing that I want you guys to know is that if there's anything I can say about it, it's that where I go in the near future, I think it's probably going to end up being that I'm going to end up having a major fight with this, and it's probably going to end up in either complete destruction, where I end up just going to Kingdom 537 or something like that, and we just take a leap of faith and see where it gets us, and see if maybe we can take as many rallies as possible. Maybe I'll go garrison trap or something. I don't know, but like it's just where I'm at with it now, is that it's kind of like, do you do rallies? Yeah, I mean, if you could get away with it, cool. But, like, let me give you some insight on rallies, I guess, that might be a little helpful for you in the near future. So, like, as you guys probably have heard or have heard about, right, is that whenever you do rallies, especially if you're going to do rallies on other players, for that matter, okay, if you don't have a scout report, that's usually a bad idea, but I know people that do it, and the people that do it are usually pretty smart in the fact that they'll send, like, not their leader, right? But they'll send like a pure stack of like infantry tier 2, and they compare and contrast between the 3 different types, and they compare to see which unit type took less damage than the others, as a way to determine, is this guy an infantry range or cavalry phalanx, and vice versa. The only thing I hate about doing that, in contrast to what I would do, which is to just say I just pick a target rally, okay, regardless of might, regardless of what you're up against. The main thing is in my experience, and this is the way I think the Chinese players and a lot of other big guilds are doing it now, is that what they do is they just really they put a, you know, it's like I think it's like close to 200. It's 200. It's like 60% basically of tier 4, and the remaining 40% of it is all going to be tier 2. And then everybody else is filling with like a little under 60-40%, you know, on that, you know, for a reinforcement. And so the benefit of that is that even if you don't send your leader, it's going to do damage. And then if you do lose troops, it's going to be your tier 2, and the rest of it's going to get wounded, and that's probably going to be your tier 4. Now, it's not to say you won't take tier 4 losses, but it seldom happens in that case. Because what I've found is that if you do that in repetition, like if you have like 3 or 4 different guilds doing that, right, you can very quickly determine, is the guy online? Because he'll swap his gear. Is the guy, you know, in this phalanx? Well, you'll know right after that report. Because you can very easily tell, you know, or am I getting all reds? Am I getting like a little bit of reds? You know, what am I killing? And do I get a march back? You know, the stuff like that. Like you wouldn't get it if you'd done it any other way. And I say that because I see a lot of people that have rallied me in the past, and they do the exact opposite. They send like full tier 4 with their leader, and then they intend to harm on the very first try. The problem with that mindset is that the moment you do that, you lose your leader, and then you can't do it again. So I've seen a lot of people, they'll fill a prison or something like that, and they'll do that. That works great until they kick the leader out, and then they cap your leader. So then they go a step further. They get Huey Hop, and they get their leader pulled back, and all that jazz. And even still, it's still a bit of a... It's a little over the top, right? If you're going to do Baron War, for example, or if you're going to do any kind of base fighting... So, like on Wonders for that matter, right now it's a given that almost everybody has to have the Wonder Research completely maxed out. And you probably should have at least 1, 2, or maybe all 3 of the heroes that are giving a 200k stack to Wonder boosts. And then you can debate on whether or not you need to get Sigil Research, but I would say you probably do, and whether or not you need to get Familiar Battle Research, which I say you probably should, which is why it got ridiculously expensive. Okay, for any normal person to play Wonders. Because Wonders are becoming more of a business level income thing where you really have to be invested pretty heavily into the game at that point if you're going to do that kind of thing. But that's why I say rally leads have it worse. You know, when everyone else is like, oh man, traps are going to have to... No, it's not the traps that are bitching. Believe me, it's not the traps that are bitching about that. But even still, okay, if you're going to do Wonders, all right, the main thing is you go after the forts first, and you have to juggle between having just the right amount of troop comp. So a lot of the time, I've seen what people will do is they'll split it up into like 3 stacks evenly. So like for 4 million, I'll see somebody that does like 1 million across for 3 million, and then they do 500k, 500k, and then they might do like 900k in the middle. And the idea is that if somebody comes at you and sends cavalry, you just swap phalanx and you might get away with it. And oddly enough, if you do it that way, you'll get pretty lucky sometimes. Now, I have seen where what people are even doing then is they swap the comp on somebody. So, like, you know, if the guy's sending infantry and you know he sends infantry every single time, you send cavalry, and so he tricks you and turns around and swaps out for range, and you get completely obliterated because you try to send cavalry on infantry or something akin to that. But even then, right, the idea is always to be bouncing from fort to fort, and the idea that hopefully what will happen is you'll eventually get that fort conquered. And when you have, then you can move on to the next one and the next one and so forth. Needless to say, though, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys next time.